Hey there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time to Intentional with Jennifer. My channel is all about intentional living. So if you are interested in decluttering, organizing, gardening, cooking, travel, makeup, just in general, daily choices and how you're going to live your life to find the joy in your day, uh, reach your target goals, this is the channel for you. So today's video is about my project pan. This is my rolling project pan. So I'm actually participating in a couple of different things. I started out with this rolling project pan, and it was really about getting through and using some of the products that I haven't used in a while. And I really wanted to get the best juice out of them and set some goals on that and clear through some things that have been in my inventory. Things that I felt like, I don't need 3 eyebrow products or 4 eyebrow products. And at the time that I started this, I was sitting there with a few different ones, some of which were because of travel, and I really didn't need it. So that's what this was about. And then also wanting to get through items that I have purchased prior to the expiration dates. Some things my skin is incredibly sensitive to expiration dates, and other things I'm fine with. So this was about really trying to get the most quality use out of my things and being really conscientious about using them up, really thinking about whether I like the product, whether that's something that fits my lifestyle, or whether it's, use it because I did spend money on it, and then move on from it and into something that suits me better later if that one didn't work. So let's get started. So I did start this in July. So this is now, what, third week of August. I think today might be the 20th. Don't quote me on that. But it's a Thursday, somewhere around the 20th, whatever that may be in August. I am going to start doing these towards the end of the third week. So I'm doing it a little bit earlier than a full month's worth of use, and I feel fine with that. But so that I'm not feeling so rushed in everything I'm doing, I did want to kind of change up my timeline on these things because I do still have, I have 4 kids, 3 of which are adults. 1 does not live here. The youngest of my children is 13 and in middle school. However, he does do independent school, so he's at the house, but sometimes he needs me to bring him places. Plus, I have an almost 3-year-old grandson that I often will just get a call and I'll have him in an hour. So I like to kind of have my life in a way that I can just up and change direction within my day. And at the end of the day, I have always said I'm not one of those parents who said, hey, 18 years and I'm done. So for me, this is the dream. Okay, this is the dream of my intentional living. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first item that I had put into my project pan was, in fact, this Morphe Cabernet blush. Boop. I think this is the spot right here. Okay. I have arranged things so that hopefully I can see and you can see and we can all see. All right. So the Cabernet blush. All right. You can see I've got a number of pans there. I've got this one up here. I've got this one here. This was the first one I hit pan on. And this is the one that made me say, oh, I think I can hit pan around here. So then I hit pan here and I hit pan here. And I updated that last time. So I really did start to focus here. I don't know if you can see on this one, I got quite a dip going there, and I've got a little bit of a dip going here. And I really started using these other guys too. This one, I don't know if you can see all of that. You can see there's quite a bit of disturbance. I was so afraid of this color, but then I started using it with some different looks, and I found I really enjoy it. So here's my plan though. I sat there and I said, these guys, all of these like shimmery ones, they're going to pan easily first because these other guys, all of these mattes, I use them in such less quantity that I thought I'm going to pan out all those shimmers and then I'm going to be like left with these mattes. What am I supposed to do with those? And I've got in some of my other projects, I'm also participating in something called Throwback 30, which we had 30 projects. We chose whether we were panning or numbers of use or what have you. And I put in my very favorite eyeshadow, which is my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. And as I've been using that, I'm like, I'm going to end up panning this baby. I'm going to end up finishing this out, which is okay because I did already buy my duplicate, my backup. Um, I have CRPS, which causes some brain fog, but I'm also in menopause, also causes brain fog. So sometimes the words escape me, and sometimes I get on while we're here, and sometimes I say, you guys know what I mean, and then maybe I'll put them in, or maybe I'll think of it later in the video. Every day's a new adventure, okay? All right. All right, so this is what I was thinking. When I finish that Charlotte Tilbury, and clean that all up. I'm going to keep that component, and then I'm going to depan these mattes because I will likely by then also have finished all these shimmers up, and then I will scrape them out, reconstitute them with the isopropyl alcohol, pat them back down in that one, and then I will just have a small quad of just mattes. And I started using some of these with my Patrick Ta Duo Shimmers, and I loved it. And so that's my plan in place. So changed my mind. Not hitting pan in every single one is the goal. The goal now is pan out, complete the shimmers, and then I will get rid of this palette and put the rest into another compartment. That's the plan. Okay, so that's where I'm at. I did make some progress. I used it quite a bit this last month. And so it's all fine and good. All right, the next thing I have on there is my Benefit Bad Gal Bang Mascara. It's right here. I know last time I said it was technically 6 months and I was probably going to let it go. But also, it took me forever to figure out how to use this, you guys. So the trick for me was, because this is not a waterproof and it's not a smudge proof, never put it on the lower lashes. I usually, on my black Soul Gazer from Kosas, I do put that on my lower lashes. This one's a top lash only. I think the color is Wild Plum. It was a limited edition. I probably won't be able to get it again. I am seeing how it's performing. If it's still performing, I'm going to keep it around. And if not, then I might be done with it at the end of this month. I'll update you further next month. All right, so there's that. I'm going to start putting these things away in my vanity drawer as we do this because I kind of don't like having the mess everywhere. It starts to bother me. So I will be doing it that way. All right, the next thing on my list is my ABH Mini Brow Definer. And for those of you that knew, the reason why I disliked this was not because I didn't like the product itself. So there it is, and I have it, I think, in soft brown there. I like the product, but when I purchased this, it was advertised as having a spoolie, and it did not. It just ended up being a full product with no spoolie, so I hate panned it a little bit because I was upset about the spoolie. I can sometimes hold a little bit of a grudge. I'll admit it. All right, this baby, though, is completely gone. There's nothing in there. Can you see that? Nothing in there. It's clicky, clicky. So I finished that out. Done. Boop. Out of here. All right. The next thing I had was my Benefit Mini Gimme Brow. And that was, everything's wiped off of this. So here, you can just see this. Everything's wiped off. But it was fine. It did start to get to the part where, as I was filling and doing my brows, like, I would have chunky areas. It just was no longer applying nicely. I used it until it just was not even applying to the brush in a way that worked. So I think it is empty at this point. I am 52. My hair is starting to change colors. I've never really been into dyeing my hair. This is my tie-dye natural mixed brown, different tones in here. I am starting to get some grays. I'm also starting to get those whitish grays in my eyebrows. And so I thought I had chunks missing, and it turned out it was that they had changed color on me. So that was the deal. I'm going to look and, okay, I'm just checking to make sure I'm not losing my volume here. There's still a light. We're good. All right. So that product's gone. The next thing I had on here was my Urban Decay Mini Eyeshadow Primer Original. This little girl is still running hard. So when I do it here, I squeeze through, and yeah, there's still like stuff that's coming up through the top there. So yeah, we're not through with that one. So I'm still working on that. I use it on a regular basis. The next thing I have is my Kosas Color Corrector in Magic. This one is, in fact, expired. I cannot tell how much there is in there. It looks like there's a slight color variation in about this area. Without taking out the stopper, I cannot access down in there to even like scrape down to see if I see any windowing. So I'm still working on that. That'll continue on until it's done or it burns my eyes, because like I said, it is expired. The next one I have is my Charlotte Tilbury Color Corrector, the Magic Vanish in Fair. I do have quite a dip going in there. I don't know if you can see that. So hopefully quite a bit of a dip going. This expires, I think, in September or October, but I'm going to keep on rolling with that until it's all said and done. And then let's see, what else do I have here? I have my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat and MI Kiss. I actually have that on today. So I wanted to show you. Here, can you see that? Okay. So the one over here on the left is a new lip cheat that I have not opened. And the one on the right is my MI Kiss. So I've used this a lot, but like it lasts a long time. So you can see I still have quite a bit of that. Here is the color. I have it on today. There we go. Can you see that? I love this color. It's like kind of a deep berry. I bought it to go with an Ilia lip tint that I'm also wearing today, and I love it. This is not yet expired, but it will be expiring. And so that's why I wanted to really start focusing on it, because as you can see, like I've got a brand new other color. That I haven't opened because I don't want to start my clock. All right. I've got a number of different lip liners that I enjoy all of them, but I do want to start rotating. That's the intentionality of all this. All right. So I've been working on that. I use that a few times a week. It's going to take some time to get through it. The next thing I have is two products. It's my Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. Y'all know I'm hate paying in this business. I don't enjoy the product. I had to buy two to get a color match. I do have it on today. Like it's a color match. So, but I don't like how heavy it feels. I feel like I'm always itchy because of the weight of it. Not an allergy, but just the weight of it. So I have it in 2.5 and I have it in 4.5. Yes. So the windowing and such, it looks like you can see my lines here. That top one was from last time and the bottom one is from now. I am using this like 3-4 times a week. And so the fact that things are going nowhere, this one I think I might have drawn the line too high because I couldn't see. I started using my lights that I keep here at my vanity. My vanity is a new situation. And the light in my vanity is not enough for my aged eyes. So I actually brought in my sewing light. It's a little desktop one, and I use that for putting on my makeup. And then today, this filming setup, I'm using one of those spotlight kind of things that holds the phone. So I'm still working on this. You know, the plan is finish it out. And then my prize at the end is I get to open up my Dior foundation that I bought in April that I Didn't think I would be waiting this long to be able to open. So that one's a bummer, but I'm motivated. So I am, in fact, still using this a good 4 times a week. All right, the next thing I have is my Charlotte Tilbury Mini Lip Cheat in Pillow Talk. So I've got 2 here. I've got, let's see if you can see these. The one on the right is the Pillow Talk, and the one on the left is the Pillow Talk Medium. So you can see I have used this one quite a bit more. Here's the color. I'm going to have to start putting these somewhere else. I'm really having to turn my wrist. Okay, so there's the Pillow Talk. I love it. It's a great color. It's going to expire in the fall, I think. Maybe later. I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to check my Excel sheet that I started for my inventory. But I'm using it up because I want to make sure that I'm using my products. All right, so there's that one. The next item is the Charlotte Tilbury Mini Bullet in Pillow Talk. Cute little bugger right here. And she's gone. There is stuff in there to dig out. And I chose to dig it out when I franken some lipstick. So I love this little component. It's so adorable. Pretty color. It feels sturdy. I love the size of it. So what I'm planning to do is when I was cleaning out previous lippies for recycling, I had dug out and realized, wow, there is so much left in there that I went, oh, I can't dispose of that. It was a more emollient lip product than this one. It was more of a glossy sheen to it. It's far more emollient, but the color would just be gone in 2 seconds. So I went through it so fast because it was just gone so fast because it just didn't have staying power. The Charlotte Tilbury, this one is a matte. It has staying power, but I don't like matte on my lips. And so I like to put a gloss or something over it. So my plan is I'm going to franken the rest of this matte Pillow Talk with that more of like a luster gloss kind of situation, which I think it was actually from Poof, gone out of my head. The Idali, whatever brand that it was, the Idol lip something. So that one, it was a beautiful color. It was darker, more like a cranberry, like a deep dark cranberry. So I think between the 2 of them, it's going to make a really pretty color. And I think the texture might be good. So I'm going to scrape, melt, and then I'm going to put them back into this component and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. But if it does work, that means I get a lot of use out of my products in the future. All right, so that's the plan on that. So that one's gone out of this one. Then I have my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Medium Lip Cheat, which I already showed you that I had it here. But here is the color. There it is right down here. And I very much like it. It is very similar to the MI Kiss. However, it is a little bit more matte. The MI Kiss looks like it's got a little bit more shimmer to it. All right, so then that means our next one is going to be the Charlotte Tilbury Mini Bullet in Pillow Talk Medium. And you can see I got quite a lot of business going on that one. It's a very pretty color. There it is. So now I get to really start to focus on this. So that one's staying in. This is a rolling situation. So that was everything that I rolled in on when I initially began back in July. So that was 16 products, lots of stuff. And I have now completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've completed 5. So I'm down to 11 of my original. However, last update, my first update for August, I rolled in 5 more products, and those are some beauty products. So I rolled in the Paul Mitchell Smoothing Super Skinny Serum, and I've had this forever, and I didn't know how to use it. So it turns out it's kind of like a combo between my Moroccan oil serum that I put in to help smooth the hair, but it also has a heat protectant capacity to it. So I've been putting it in my hair like various different times. It smells really good. It feels nice. It's not as thick as the Moroccan oil. It's a lot like thinner consistency. And I've really I think it was like up to here when I began this last time. I'm down to here now, right? So here's my little line there. Can you see that line? So I'm down to there. I'm not going to do the measurements on this one. It is an 8.5 fluid ounce, 250 mils. Uh, it's quite a lot of stuff to work with. I did put it in my hair today as my heat protectant. My hair was not running through my wand type situation as smoothly as it normally does. So could be that I need to clean that. So I'm going to do that this week, but it could just be that it was this. Although this makes my hair very, very soft. So I don't know. We'll check on that. So that item I brought in, I've made some good progress. The next item I brought in last time was the Paul Mitchell Invisible Wear Memory Shaper. All right. So here it is, right? Here's this guy. It's this like bluish color. I drew a line on there last time because I could see it was down that far. And then I started thinking, that's kind of unrealistic. I'm not I can't see through the bottle. The opacity of the bottle isn't going to let me see through even with a backlight. So it's not going to be accurate. We just, peeking in the top and drawing a line, which is what I did last time. So I did weigh it this morning. So we are starting out for the next time. So current weight is 281 grams. All right. I'm just using my food scale. So will this be accurate as time goes on? Probably not. That's fine. I did use it today. It did kind of smooth down some of the business because things were kind of getting a little floofy out there. But I don't know if I'm using this stuff right. The problem is it got recommended by a hairstylist. I went ahead and did it, but I didn't have enough time with the hairstylist to really learn how to use it. So that's been hanging around for a while. I would just like to be able to move it on. I did a full inventory of all of my beauty products, like makeup, deodorant, soaps, you name it. If it's a thing that touches the body, I did an inventory on it. And so I found that I had over 40 hair items. I don't even do my hair every day. So that to me was one, it's completely embarrassing. And it's because I didn't have everything in one place. Things would get shifted. There were so many unopened products that I just forgot I bought. So that's the thing about the intentional living, right? Um, organizing your things in a way to where you can intentionally be like, yes, I've used this item up. It's time for me to go get a new one. Or, oh gosh, I am, this much left in my bottle. I know that's another couple of weeks. Let me go ahead and order that now in case there's a delay in shipping. What if there's a blizzard in the Midwest? These are things like I live in Northern California. I'm not dealing with crazy weather other than when my products come from somewhere that there's crazy weather. So that was one of those things where I am really learning how long it takes me to use my stuff. This Project Pan has been amazing for that. I have been going through things. In addition to the Project Pan, I've got other projects going through stuff too. So this is not my only one, but this is my rolling one. And this is not collaborative with other people. And this is just getting products used up. Whereas I've got my 2-for-1 Lippie and perfume project where I, use up 2 items from my inventory and then I get to bring in one that I bought. I'm not allowed to bring it, even stick it in my drawer until I use up those other 2 items first. So it's really like culling down my inventory, curating my inventory to things that I love to use. And then I've also participating in the Throwback 30. And so I've got a ton of Lippie products in there. And then there's just, so I've got a lot of Lippie products happening. But I digress. All right. So the next thing I have that I had added in was the Sigma Creme Brulee Eyeshadow Quad. So here it is. I'm wearing it today. I did a halo eye today. Things got a little dark and heavy and not me. So because at the end of the day, here's what happened. I always start with this color over here and I kind of go over it. And then I do this one and I did like sides, crease, whatever. Then on the dark one, I was doing just a little bit at the edge. And then I did the gold in the center to halo. which was fine, except when I went to go touch up on my inner and my outer, I accidentally went in here instead of here. And then things got real dark real quick. And then I was like, I'm not undoing this whole look. So I just did it to the other eye. And then I went back in with this and I dabbed it over the top to try to soften everything. So I think it worked out okay. I didn't feel like I wasted anything. This expires in January. This was a 12-month expiration date. Wild. I don't know why. It's probably different preservatives. But I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to use this as much as I can. I did weigh this probably July 11th. It says June 11th, but I think I just hadn't clocked in my brain it was July. So at that time, it was 32 grams. I'm not weighing it today. I'm going to weigh it in a few months because I don't care about that monthly weight. That's, personal preference on how we're doing our project pans, right? Okay. So the next thing I have is my Catrice Soft Glam Baked Blush in On Cloud Pink. And I bought this because some makeup artists were like, they love it for bridal looks. So I bought it to do for when I renewed my wedding vows. And it was very pretty, but it was very, very, very glowy. And I didn't feel like it was an everyday kind of thing. So then I said, let me get some use out of this. And in the interim, I accidentally dropped it. And so I had to repress it, and I did a lousy job. So, so here it is. So ugly, that repressing. I've since then watched so many videos to really learn how to repress better. It was kind of bumped up. I've used it enough that you can see it's flattened out some. Hopefully by the next time it will be less ugly. And I have figured out how I'm going to use this because it changed the formula when I repressed. It's even more shiny and gluey than it was before. So now I'm using it as a pink highlighter now. It looks a little bit like the Pinkgasm from Charlotte Tilbury. So I was like, all right, let me just use it as a highlighter. We'll see. When your stuff doesn't work for you how you thought it should, you just go through and use it in a different way. Okay, let me just make sure. Okay. I have my vanity mirror behind, so I can actually see this time because then I've got the phone in a way that I am on my back camera and I can see what's going on. But I do want to check every now and then that my speaker has not gone out. All right. Last item I have is the Ilia Balmy Tint Hydrating Lip Balm in the color Memoir. Here it is. Let me swatch this little one for you. It's this last one down here. You're seeing a pattern going on here. All right. So this is how much I have. And what I did here was I just drew a little mark there. And I'm just kind of doing one of these numbers to measure it a little bit. And so I just kind of like that so I could see where it was. And then I'm just taking it from the top of the plastic, not the component, but the plastic there. And so I haven't used it a ton since I put it in because I was really working on some other stuff. I am tracking some things if they happen to be in my Throwback 30, like the hourglasses are in my Throwback 30. The eye primer is in my Throwback 30. The Sigma Creme Brulee is in my Throwback 30. But I think that's all I put in my Throwback 30. So those things I'm tracking usage. So for instance, this past month for my the primer potion, let's say, I used it this month 14 times thus far, right? And then for my Vanish color corrector, I only did 3 because I was doing a lot more on this one. But this is not in my Throwback 30, so I didn't track that one, but I used it a lot. I know I used that one a lot because I use it as an initial primer on my eyes, and then I just take it all the way down. But that one's already technically expired, so I'm trying to get as much use of that one as possible. And I also kind of want to know when it turns like for real so that I can know that from my knowledge because I'm trying to figure out how much is in here that I need to use. It is a 6-month expiration date, and in the future, I really want to honor the expiration dates. Other things I had, so my Hourglass Ambient, uh, I used that a total of 10, 11 times since the beginning of August. So yeah, that's still like a lot. It was more than half the month. And then on my up. Where is my, oh, the creme brulee. Yeah, the creme brulee I only used 3 times. I only used that one 3 times. Here's why. I have some products in my Throwback 30 that I chose numbers of use, like 12 or 30 or whatever for the various things. And so I wanted to try to use up some of those. So for instance, I had in a Patrick Taw. It was called Slow Burn. It's the one that I found I really love with that like deep cranberry from the Morphe palette. But I needed to use that 6 times because that actually belongs to my daughter that I was borrowing to try to see if I liked the color. And I then threw it in this Throwback 30 so that I needed to hold on to it. So I used that a lot in that first week and a half so they could then return that to her. And then because my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Quad, I put that in for like 30 uses. I use that a bunch too because I want to try to like make some movement over there. So long story long, as you know I do. So that's it for this time. So I am now currently on to, let's see, we decided I used it 11 items from that first grouping plus the 5. So I am at 16 items. Okay, here's my plan. I would like to not have more than 10 items in the rolling project pan. When I say rolling, I mean, this is like going to be a thing that I'm doing from here on out, I think. And it's just really a way to focus my efforts and be super intentional in my use. So when I get down to 10, like I'm not adding anything else in until I get below 10, and then I will add in to keep to the 10. And I think that's going to work for me. So, yeah, so I completed out 3 items this time. Next time around, I really anticipate this is going to be gone because yes, there's a bunch in it, but I use it like almost every day. I anticipate that will be gone. What else can I anticipate being gone? Ah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think I think the super skinny, I can really only, I went from like here to here, so I'm probably going to be to there. So 1, 2, at least 3 months. So that's all of September, October, November. I think by the end of the year, oops, like going to maim myself. I think by the end of the year, I'll be done with this. Um, uh, who knows? Who knows? I don't know how to use it really. So um, we're struggling there. We're struggling there. When I really started focusing on that pillow talk, I really like moved through that puppy. So I think I can move through this puppy too. I do. It is so close in color though to this one, right? They're like super close in color, but this is more of a satin and that is a matte. So when I use this, even though like today I wore this, but I did in fact still put a gloss over it because, and this is not in my pan, but I've got this Fenty gloss that I am like oil that I'm really working to get rid of. I'm not a super fan of the oil, but you can see there's like a ton of windowing there. There's like nothing going on down here. I'm holding it upside down so I can get like every last smidgen out of it. And this is the Fussy oil, and I'm not going to replace oil. I like the color, but I'm not going to replace the oil because it does tend to like take my lip off. I did my lip right before starting this, and it kind of wiped away everything. And you can tell because the liner is showing really well and the rest not. But I do tend to still do gloss when I do something like this. So on this one, it's like more shimmery, more shine than I would have gotten from the Charlotte Tilbury matte. But I really do like more shine. So you see, I'm really like getting in there. I, I like more shine, right? So I do tend to layer my products. And I definitely have to do it when I'm using the any of the matte products because they are just it's too matte for me. Um, I think once upon a time, because like I'm Gen X and I grew up in the 80s and came of age in the 90s. And so, yeah, we did do a lot of matte stuff back then, but I'm just not into it now. So we grow up, we change, we have different opinions about the things that we like and want, and that is super okay. All right, so that is my rolling project pan for finishing out here. I am going to start, as I said, doing these more like the third week of the month so that I can kind of be done with this. And so I will be in that last week of the month doing my empties video and somewhere in there as well doing my my throwback 30s. So if you're interested in seeing what products I have going on in that, and I've already finished out some things for that one. Uh, check it out. I think that will be going up in a week, and like I said, my empties will be going up towards the end of the month. And I do have other content that I do, so this is not just strictly a makeup channel. I love makeup. I didn't wear makeup for decades, and when I got back into it, I jumped whole hog in. And I got so excited. And I was like, look at this color, look at this color, look at that color. And I bought way too much, more than what I could reasonably use. Now, I grew up in an era where I had no money. We didn't have credit cards. Even if you could write a check, like you needed 80 forms of ID to write your check. They definitely weren't taking a check from me anywhere I went. And so I'd have to show up with cash. If I didn't have the cash, I didn't get to buy it. I would have one eyeshadow palette. And when I say palette, I really mean a quad, or maybe it was a quint. And it would be something that I bought out of the grocery store or maybe the drugstore, and that was all fine. And I used that up until it was just like completely like gone and the component was broken. And now I'm in this different stage of my life where I can buy more than one item, and then I get to try different looks all the time, and I really love to do that. So I did get a little excited. And now I'm like, I have limited space. It was less about I did not create any sort of a financial hardship by doing this, but I did create a space storage hardship for myself and myself alone. It did not affect my family because they're like, whatever, man, they don't care where things are going. I could stuff it in all the nooks and crannies in the house and they would not even notice. But I notice. And I like to have all my stuff in one place, and I like to not have an inventory of products that is beyond what I could reasonably use. So yes, I do still want to have a variety of things. I like all the pretty lippies. I like to have the perfumes. I am not doing any perfumes in this rolling project pan project because I have my 2-for-1 lippy and perfume project. So check that out and see what work I've been doing there. It's so exciting because I've had some really old stuff in my drawer of goodies that I have been using up. And that's exciting because I didn't feel like I had a place to wear perfume. I didn't feel like I had an occasion for perfume. I didn't feel like I had an occasion for makeup and lipstick. And then one day I realized I'm the occasion. I'm the occasion. I can do these things when I feel like it. I don't need to be going to an event to have permission to get gussied up, as they say. I can just do it every day. Today, the only place I'm going is driving my 13-year-old to his coding class. I'll be in the car 30 minutes to drive him there, drop him off. His big brother goes to pick him up a few hours later because he works in the area. I'll drive home. Maybe I might stop off and do an errand or something, but honestly, I'm probably going to go do some gardening. And I still do the full face because I like to do the full face now. It's not for anybody but me at this point. Uh, if other people enjoyed along the way, hey, glad I could bring a smile to their face. But this is for me. The perfume is for me, the full face, the lip products, the pretty eye look. Like, it's all just for me at this point. And it should be for you too. But I do also want to be reasonable in how much stuff I have because I don't want to exceed my space and I don't want to have to throw something out because it expired. Like when I started like some of these things, I had to throw away a lot of sunscreen because it expired. It hurt my soul to have done that. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it didn't get too long. I've mentioned before I can make a short story long. It probably got too long. Apologies. I am working on getting better about that, but honestly, it's a little like it's all the way back there. I can't see the time and how long I've been on here. And because like if I was filming on front camera, I'd be able to see, but I'm filming on back camera and then it's in the mirror, so everything's backwards, so I can't tell what's happening back there really. I was just trying to make sure you could see the products over here. I can see me and I can't even see the products. So I know they're supposed to be about here because I don't know. I don't know where everything is going in there. So that's what I got going on. I would love to hear if you're doing a project pan, what products you've been working on. Hey, if you have this product, if you've ever had this product and you know how to use this product to the best of its capabilities, can you please tell me? Like, drop it in the comments. I would love. I think they discontinued that, so I can't even like really like get information on how to use it properly, right? So like this one, I was able to find out information because they do still have it, but like the packaging on the Ulta website is different now from when I bought that. And then also it did say like, oh, we're changing our thing, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to change it up again. So I've had it now through one change at least. Now I'm going to be having it through a second change. And the other one is just like, that memory one is like gone. I can't find it. So if you know how to use it, let me know. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day. I want you to choose something today to live your life intentionally. And sometimes that something is, really big, like, choosing to go back for grad school to make a huge change in everything you're doing in life. And sometimes it's a super little thing, like deciding, you want to like finish out your lippies so that you can breathe a little bit lighter, or it's changing up some of the plantings in your yard to make it work better for you. And sometimes it's choosing to just sit back with a nice cup of hot tea and just enjoy the wildlife in your backyard. So you choose something. I would love to hear what you chose today for your intentional act. All right, so speaking of some stuff in the backyard, I have some plantings to do, so I'm going to head out. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful rest of your day. All right, bye-bye.